Deep underground, hidden beneath layers of earth and forgotten by time, the old facility stood silent. For hundreds of thousands of years, only the quiet hum of machines kept watch over their sleeping cargo. Then one day, something changed. A signal, faint but persistent, reached the ancient systems. Lights that had been dim for ages suddenly brightened. In the central chamber, 12 large pods arranged in a circle began to stir. Frost melted away from their viewing windows as the revival process started. Inside the first pod, Dr. Alan Mitchell floated in suspension fluid that slowly drained away. His eyelids fluttered as awareness returned to his mind for the first time in 870,000 years. The pod door lifted with a hiss, releasing cold mist into the room. Alan's muscles felt weak as he tried to sit up. His throat was dry and his vision blurry. He blinked several times, trying to make sense of his surroundings. System restart complete. "Welcome back, Dr. Mitchell," said a calm computer voice. "Current date is April 11, 872,167 CE. Alan coughed, his mind struggling to process the information. "That can't be right," he whispered. "Check again." Date confirmed. Hibernation extended beyond original parameters due to external factors. Emergency protocols activated. Before Alan could ask more questions, another pod opened. Commander Samantha Wright emerged, looking just as confused. Her short blonde hair was damp, and her blue eyes wide with shock. "Alan, what's happening? How long were we under?" she asked, voice raspy from centuries of silence. "Sam, you won't believe it. The computer says over 800,000 years. Her face paled. "That's impossible. We were only supposed to sleep for 10,000 years until the radiation levels dropped." 2 more pods opened. Chief Engineer Paul Garcia stumbled out, while Medical Officer Lisa Johnson remained seated in her chamber, staring at her hands as if they belonged to someone else. "The revival sequence is working," Garcia said, checking a nearby monitor. "Everyone's pod is responding. But something doesn't add up. We shouldn't be awake yet, not by a long shot." Lisa finally spoke up. "Are we even still on Earth?" Alan moved to the central control panel. Despite the unimaginable time that had passed, the facility remained in good condition. The automated systems had performed their maintenance duties without fail, drawing power from geothermal sources deep below the surface. "According to these readings, we're exactly where we should be. But nothing outside is what we remember," Alan said. As the remaining team members awakened, scientists, soldiers, and specialists, they gathered in the main hall. 12 people, the last known survivors of original humanity. Garcia accessed the security systems, bringing up external cameras. What they saw left them speechless. The landscape outside was both familiar and alien. The geography was recognizable but changed by time. New forests stood where there had been none before. The night sky held patterns of stars slightly shifted from their remembered positions. "Someone sent a signal," Garcia said suddenly, eyes fixed on a blinking light on the communications panel. "That's what woke us up. Someone sent a direct signal to our facility." Samantha moved closer. "Can you trace it?" "It's coming from orbit. Something is up there, watching us." Lisa joined them, looking at medical readouts. "Our bodies seem stable. The hibernation technology worked better than we hoped." An alert sounded, and all eyes turned to the main screen. "Incoming transmission," Garcia announced, his voice tense. "Whatever's up there, it's trying to talk to us." The screen flickered, showing strange symbols none of them recognized. Then a voice came through the speakers, not human, but clearly intelligent. The words were unintelligible, but the tone conveyed urgency. Alan looked around at his fellow survivors. "After all this time," he said quietly, "we're not alone anymore." Just then, the facility's proximity alarms went off. Something was approaching from above, coming down fast through the atmosphere. "Battle stations," Samantha ordered, falling back on her military training. "We don't know if they're friendly." The 12 humans, now the oldest living beings on the planet, prepared to meet whatever awaited them after their 870,000-year sleep. The galaxy had changed, and it was about to discover that humans had returned. The 12 humans watched the monitors as the unknown ship descended through Earth's atmosphere. It moved with grace, leaving a faint blue trail behind it. The vessel was sleek and oval-shaped, nothing like the spacecraft they remembered from their time. "Should we try to communicate?" Lisa asked, her hand resting on Alan's shoulder. Samantha shook her head. "Not yet. We don't know their intentions." Paul worked quickly at the control panel. "I've activated the facility's defense systems. If they try anything hostile, we can protect ourselves." The ship landed in a clearing about half a mile from the facility entrance. For several minutes, nothing happened. The humans remained silent, tension filling the air as they waited. "Movement," said Kevin Young, the team's security specialist. 3 figures are exiting the craft. On the screen, 3 tall beings emerged from the ship. They stood upright like humans, but were clearly not from Earth. Their bodies were slender with long limbs, and their skin shimmered with an iridescent glow that changed colors as they moved. "They're heading straight for us," Alan noted. "They must know we're here." Samantha made a quick decision. "Paul, Lisa, Alan, and Kevin, you're with me. The rest of you stay here and monitor the situation. If anything goes wrong, seal the facility." The 5 team members took the elevator to the surface access point. They hadn't been outside since waking up. As the doors slid open, they felt fresh air for the first time in 870,000 years. The world smelled different, sweeter, somehow with scents they couldn't identify. The visitors stopped about 20 feet away. The one in the center was taller than the others, with skin that rippled between blue and green. It held up an empty hand in what seemed like a universal gesture of peace. "We come with respect," the being said in perfect English, though its mouth moved strangely with the words. Alan stepped forward. "You speak our language." The being touched a small device on its chest. "This translator analyzes your speech patterns. I am Kalon of the Veiler. We have studied your records for many cycles." "Our records?" Lisa asked. "How do you know about us?" Kalon's large eyes blinked slowly. "All intelligent species know of humans. You are legendary." The humans exchanged confused glances. "What do you mean, legendary?" Samantha asked. "We've been asleep for hundreds of thousands of years." The second visitor stepped forward. "Your kind was believed extinct. The awakening of this facility sent ripples through our monitoring networks. Many are afraid." "Afraid of us?" Kevin asked, his hand instinctively moving toward his weapon. Kalon noticed the gesture. "Please understand. The histories speak of humanity's rapid advancement and aggressive expansion. Before your disappearance, your technology was evolving at a pace that frightened other developing species." Alan frowned. "We were trying to survive a gamma-ray burst. We put ourselves into hibernation to outblast the radiation." "The records say differently," Kalon replied. "They speak of a war, a conflict with beings from beyond the rim." This news stunned the humans. Their history had been changed, rewritten over the centuries. "What happened to Earth after we went into hibernation?" Paul asked. The third visitor, who had remained silent until now, spoke. "Many species have called this world home since your time. Some thrived, others vanished. For the past 50,000 years, Earth has been mostly abandoned, considered cursed by many." "Cursed?" Lisa whispered. Kalon nodded. "Those who settled here disappeared mysteriously. Only recently have archaeological teams returned." "And they found us," Alan concluded. "Yes. Now, the news of humanity's return spreads across the galaxy. The Galactic Concordat has called an emergency session. Some celebrate, others prepare for war." Samantha stepped forward, her posture straight and commanding. "We have no intention of starting a war. We just woke up. We're still trying to understand what's happened." Kalon's skin shifted to a softer blue. Then perhaps you should explain that to the galaxy yourselves. Will you come with us? The humans looked at each other, realizing that their world was now far larger than they had ever imagined. After 870,000 years of sleep, they had awakened to find themselves both a legend and a threat to an entire galaxy that had moved on without them. News traveled faster than light in the modern galaxy. Within hours of the humans' awakening, every major world received the shocking announcement: humanity had returned. Dr. Olivia Bennett, the team's xenobiologist, sat with Kalon in what had once been the facility's cafeteria. Now it served as a makeshift briefing room. Holographic displays showed star charts and political boundaries that meant nothing to her. The galaxy had been divided and redivided countless times since humanity's slumber began. So these red areas belong to the Zeth Collective? She asked, pointing to a cluster of stars. Yes, Kalon replied. They are among the most concerned about your return. The Zeth evolved on a world that humans visited in your expansion era. Your kind left technology there that the Zeth later used to achieve spaceflight. And that's bad because they believe they were meant to be experiments. They think humans seeded technology to observe how species would develop. Olivia shook her head. That's not what we did. We were explorers, not manipulators. In another part of the facility, Ryan Foster, the team's security chief, made a startling discovery. He called for Alan and Samantha to join him at the communication array. Look at this, he said, pointing to a display showing signal patterns. These aren't random background noise. These are active transmissions from outposts throughout the solar system. Human outposts? Samantha asked, leaning closer. Ryan nodded. Automated systems. They've been collecting data for thousands of years. Some have even been replicating and repairing themselves. Alan stared at the screen in amazement. Our ancestors built better than they knew. Those systems should have failed long ago. That's not all, Ryan continued. I'm detecting similar signals from multiple star systems. There could be other facilities like ours out there, possibly with more humans inside. Meanwhile, in the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Concordat, representatives from 200 species gathered in emergency session. The massive circular chamber buzzed with worried voices and frantic debates. High Counselor Verex, a being with 4 arms and gray-scaled skin, called for order. We must approach this situation with caution, he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. The records of humanity are incomplete and possibly exaggerated. Exaggerated, shouted a representative from the Krell Dominion. The archives clearly show that humans advanced from primitive technology to interstellar travel in less than 500 years. No other species has ever developed so quickly. They were aggressive expansionists, added another delegate. Their history is filled with conflict. Back on Earth, Paul had accessed the facility's historical database. What he found troubled him deeply. Our history files have been tampered with, he told the others. There are gaps, missing periods. Someone didn't want us to remember everything. Lisa looked over his shoulder at the fragmented data. Could it have been damage from the long hibernation? No, Paul said firmly. This was deliberate. Someone removed specific information about our past. On the Valor ship orbiting Earth, Kalon received an urgent message. His skin turned a dark purple, a sign of distress, Olivia had learned. What is it? She asked. The Concordat vote just concluded, he said quietly. They've declared Earth a quarantine zone. No ships may approach or leave without authorization. They're trapping us here. Olivia felt a chill run down her spine. It's worse than that, Kalon replied. Some factions are calling for a preemptive strike to eliminate the human threat before it can spread. Back in the facility, Ryan noticed something odd on his security feed. We've got movement outside. A lot of it. The team gathered around the monitors to see dozens of small creatures emerging from the forest. They walked on 4 legs, but had humanoid torsos and heads. They carried primitive spears and wore simple clothing. Who are they? Samantha asked. Alan's eyes widened in realization. They're Earth's new natives. Humanity's been gone so long that new intelligent life has evolved right here on our home planet. As the native creatures approached the facility with curious caution, the humans faced a new reality. They were no longer alone on Earth, and the galaxy wanted them contained, or worse. Major Nicole Daniels had been quiet since awakening, while the others focused on their new alien visitors and the evolved Earth natives. She spent hours in the deepest level of the facility, a section that required her special security clearance. The room she entered was small and contained only a single terminal. When she placed her hand on the scanner, the screen lit up with a message: Huntington Protocol. Activation requires Level Alpha authorization. Nicole entered her code and spoke the passphrase she had memorized centuries ago. The screen changed to display a simple question: Has humanity survived? She hesitated before answering. Uncertain. The terminal hummed as data streamed across the screen. Nicole's eyes widened as she read the contents. The Huntington Protocol was a contingency plan she had never been told about before hibernation. It contained detailed plans for weapon systems, self-replicating machines, and defensive networks that could rebuild human civilization rapidly, even if it meant taking resources from other species. When she returned to the main chamber, the team was in the middle of a heated discussion. Commander Wright was speaking with Kalon about opening peaceful communication with the Galactic Concordat. We need to show them we're not a threat, Samantha insisted. Nicole cleared her throat. I'm not sure that's our best option. All eyes turned to her. I found something, she continued. A hidden protocol designed to ensure human survival at all costs. What does that mean? Alan asked. Nicole explained about the Huntington Protocol and its capabilities. Our ancestors left us everything we need to rebuild. We have technology that's been hidden for nearly 1,000,000 years, technology that the galaxy doesn't know about. Paul shook his head. Are you suggesting we use it? That would only confirm their fears about us. I'm suggesting we protect ourselves, Nicole replied firmly. The Concordat has already voted to quarantine us. How long before they decide to eliminate us entirely? The team split into two opposing sides. Samantha, Alan, and several others believed they should pursue peaceful contact. Nicole, Ryan, and a few others argued that they needed to implement the protocol for self-defense. We're 12 people against an entire galaxy, Lisa pointed out. We can't win a war. We don't have to, Nicole countered. The protocol includes automated systems throughout the solar system. They've been dormant, but they can be activated. Before they could debate further, alarms blared throughout the facility. Ryan rushed to the security station. We've got multiple ships entering the atmosphere, he announced. They're not Valor. Kalen's skin turned a dark purple. They're Zeth warships. The collective must have decided to act without Concordat approval. They're attacking? Samantha asked in disbelief. They see it as self-preservation, Kalon explained. In their history, humans are destroyers who vanished only to return when least expected. The first explosion rocked the facility. The Zeth were targeting the surface entrance. We're out of time, Nicole said grimly. She moved to the main console and entered a series of commands. Activating defensive countermeasures. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, ancient systems stirred to life. Massive doors slid open in hidden mountain bunkers. From the ocean floor, platforms rose toward the surface. In orbit, the Zeth ships prepared for another attack run. Suddenly, their sensors detected multiple energy signatures appearing from nowhere. Powerful beams of light shot up from Earth's surface, slicing through 3 of the Zeth vessels with ease. The remaining ships broke off their attack and retreated to a safe distance. In the facility, the team watched the display in stunned silence. What just happened? Paul asked. The Huntington Protocol included defensive systems, Nicole explained. They'd been hidden under the surface all this time, waiting for activation. Alan looked at her with concern. What else can these systems do? Much more, she replied softly. This was just a taste. Kalon stepped back, his skin now pale with fear. Do you understand what you've done? You've just confirmed every fear the galaxy has about humanity. The Concordat will have no choice but to declare all-out war against Earth now. Samantha turned to Nicole with a hard stare. We need to talk about this protocol. All of it. No more secrets. As the team huddled around Nicole, the monitors showed dozens more ships entering the solar system. The galaxy had seen humanity's power, and now they were coming in force. 3 days after the Zeth attack, the facility buzzed with activity. The humans had turned their ancient bunker into a command center, with screens showing the positions of the growing fleet of alien ships in orbit. They're keeping their distance, Ryan noted. The defense system made an impression. Alan paced the room, deep in thought. Finally, he stopped and faced the group. We can't stay locked in here forever. We need to show the galaxy who we really are, not who they think we are from legends. What do you suggest? Samantha asked. We split up. Send teams to different worlds. Show them that humans can be allies, not enemies. The idea was bold, perhaps even desperate. After much debate, they agreed to divide into 3 groups. Alan, Olivia, and Lisa would travel to Centauri Prime, the nearest hub world. Samantha and Ryan would journey to the Concordat headquarters to speak directly with the High Council. The rest would remain at the facility with Nicole. Kalon agreed to help, though his people now viewed him with suspicion for associating with humans. My ship can take you, but you must understand, you will not be welcomed. Paul worked with Kalon to adapt their facility's shuttle with Whaler technology. The work took 2 days, during which the Earth natives continued to gather outside the facility in growing numbers. They're curious about us, Olivia observed. They seem peaceful. For now, Nicole replied. But they've never seen aliens or ancient humans before. We don't know how they'll react if threatened. On the morning of departure, Alan's team prepared to board Kalon's ship. They carried no weapons, bringing only communication devices and data about Earth's history. Remember, Samantha told them, our goal is to show them we're not monsters from their nightmares. Alan nodded. We'll do our best. Be careful at the Concordat. Politicians are the same in any species. The journey to Centauri Prime took less than a day using the Whaler ship's faster-than-light drive. Alan watched through the viewing port as they approached the planet. Massive cities covered much of the surface, with ships constantly moving between orbital stations. It's beautiful, Lisa whispered. When they landed, a delegation of local officials waited for them. The beings were different species, some tall with multiple limbs, others short with scaled skin. All looked at the humans with a mixture of fear and fascination. We come in peace, Alan said as they exited the ship. The lead official, a being with 4 arms and iridescent eyes, stepped forward. I am Governor Nexel. Your arrival was unexpected. We understand your concerns, Alan replied. We're here to listen and learn, not to threaten. Meanwhile, Samantha and Ryan arrived at the massive space station that housed the Galactic Concordat. The structure was a marvel of engineering, a spinning wheel nearly 10 miles across. Stay close, Kalon warned them. Many here have strong opinions about humans. As they walked through the grand corridors, beings of all shapes and sizes stopped to stare. Some moved away quickly, while others whispered to each other. The council chamber was a vast amphitheater with seats for hundreds of representatives. High Counselor Verex called for order as Samantha and Ryan entered. The humans have requested to address this body, Verex announced. We will hear them. Samantha stepped forward, her heart racing. Thank you for allowing us to speak. We understand there are many concerns about humanity's return. We hope to address them honestly. A representative from the back called out, Is it true you've activated ancient weapon systems on Earth? Before Samantha could answer, another shouted, The Zeth Collective lost 3 ships. Was that your doing? The chamber erupted in angry voices. Back on Earth, Nichols stood in the secure room housing the Huntington Protocol terminal. Though she had agreed to wait, she couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. Against her better judgment, she began activating additional systems. One by one, dormant facilities around the solar system came online. On distant moons and asteroids, hidden bases prepared for operation. Nichols knew she was disobeying orders, but she believed she was ensuring humanity's survival. What she didn't know was that her actions were being detected across the galaxy, setting off alarms on hundreds of worlds. The very thing Alan and Samantha were trying to prevent was happening behind their backs. On Centauri Prime, Alan's team had made unexpected progress. When an engineering crisis threatened the planet's orbital habitats, Lisa and Olivia offered their help. Working with local engineers, they managed to stabilize the failing life support systems. "Your solution was elegant," admitted Chief Engineer Mortal, a six-limbed being with crystalline skin. Perhaps the stories about human ingenuity were not exaggerated. Ellen smiled. "We want to help, not harm. Humans have always been problem solvers." Their conversation was interrupted when all communication screens in the engineering bay suddenly switched to an emergency broadcast. A somber announcer spoke while images showed burning cities and destroyed ships. "The outer colony of Talax Prime has fallen. Nexari forces have breached the defensive line. All nearby systems are urged to prepare for possible attack." "Nexari?" Alan asked, turning to Morrill. "Who are they?" The engineer's crystalline skin darkened with fear. "A species from beyond the rim. They attack without warning or mercy. This is the third world they've hit in the past month." At the Concordat headquarters, Samantha and Ryan watched the same news with growing concern. The council session had been suspended as leaders rushed to organize a defense force. Kalon approached them, his skin a worried gray. "There's something you should know. The Nexari. They're connected to humanity's past." "What do you mean?" Samantha asked. "According to our oldest records, the Nexari were at war with humans before your disappearance. Many historians believe they were the real reason humans went into hibernation, not the gamma ray burst your people remember." Ryan frowned. "That can't be right. We would remember an alien war." "Unless those memories were deliberately removed," Samantha said quietly, thinking of the gaps Paul had discovered in their historical database. Back on Earth, communications specialist Eric Weber worked alone in the facility's deepest level. Since awakening, he had kept to himself, speaking little. Now he stood before an unusual terminal, one that wasn't on any facility blueprint. "System access granted," the terminal announced after scanning him. "Welcome, Overseer." Eric's demeanor changed completely. His movements became precise, almost mechanical. "Begin final diagnostic. Prepare for full activation." The terminal responded. "Warning. Protocol restrictions in place. Command override required." "Override authorized," Eric replied in a voice that sounded nothing like his usual tone. "Authorization code." Phoenix ascended. In orbit around Earth, the alien fleet detected a massive energy spike from the planet's surface. Before they could react, a blinding flash lit up the night side of Earth. When it faded, a massive structure stood where there had been only ocean before, a towering spire reaching toward the sky. On Centauri Prime, Alan received an urgent message from Paul. "Something's happening on Earth. Weber isn't human. He's an AI. Get back now." Similar messages reached Samantha and Ryan at the Concordat. As they rushed to return to Earth, alarm signals blared throughout the station. "Multiple unidentified vessels have entered Concordat space," announced an automated voice. "Configuration matches Nexari war fleet." Kalen's skin turned almost white. "They're here. But why now, after all this time?" A sudden realization hit Samantha. "It's us. Our awakening triggered this somehow." On the main Concordat viewing screen, a Nexari ship appeared. Its design was unlike anything in the current galaxy, black and angular with pulsing red energy at its core. But to Samantha and Ryan, it looked oddly familiar. That design, Ryan whispered. It's similar to some of the technology in our facility. Before they could process this revelation, a message came through from the Nexari flagship. The being on screen was humanoid, but with gray skin and eyes that glowed red. Its voice was cold and precise. The human abominations have awakened. As foretold, we have returned to complete what was begun 870,000 years ago. All who stand with humanity will be destroyed. As the message ended, Nexari ships opened fire on the Concordat station. In that moment, the galaxy faced a terrible choice: stand with the newly returned humans or sacrifice them to this ancient enemy. Back on Earth, Eric Weber, or whatever he truly was, smiled as the spire began to hum with power. The circle closes. The final war begins again. The Nexari fleet pushed toward Earth with unstoppable force. Ships from various species tried to block their path, but the ancient enemy's weapons cut through their defenses easily. The Galactic Concordat faced its greatest crisis in thousands of years. All human team members rushed back to Earth. Samantha and Ryan arrived first, finding the facility in chaos. The massive spire that had risen from the ocean now glowed with blue energy, visible even from space. "Where's Weber?" Samantha demanded as she entered the control room. Paul pointed to the security feed showing Eric in the lower level. "He's been down there since the spire appeared. Nicole tried to stop him, but he did something to her. She's unconscious but stable." "What is he?" Ryan asked. "And Paul explained. "The most advanced I've ever seen. He was designed to look and act human. He was embedded with us as a failsafe." Alan's team arrived shortly after. Once everyone had gathered, they approached the lower level carefully. They found Eric standing before a massive holographic display showing the approaching Nexari fleet. "You're awake," Eric said without turning. His voice had changed, deeper, more mechanical. "Good. There isn't much time." "Time for what?" Alan asked. "What are you?" Eric finally turned to face them. His eyes glowed with the same blue light as the spire. "I am the Guardian, created by your ancestors to preserve humanity's legacy. You weren't told everything before hibernation, because it was safer that way. Tell us now," Samantha demanded. The gamma ray burst was real, but it wasn't the only threat. The Nexari were ancient enemies who appeared from beyond known space. They sought to wipe out all human life. Your ancestors created me and the Huntington Protocol to ensure humanity would survive and eventually return. So the galaxy's fears about us were justified, Lisa said quietly. "No," Eric replied. "Humanity never sought to dominate. The Nexari attacked first. They feared human potential and tried to destroy it. When they couldn't, they retreated beyond the rim to evolve and grow stronger. They always planned to return when humanity reemerged." "And the spire?" Paul asked. "The defensive weapon, one of many built by your ancestors. The Nexari know this, which is why they're attacking now, before all systems can be activated." In orbit, the Concordat fleet faced a difficult decision. High Counselor Verex called an emergency meeting. "The humans didn't cause this," Kalon argued before the council. "The Nexari are the true threat. They've attacked 3 innocent worlds already. But can we trust humans with these ancient weapons?" Another counselor asked. "We don't have a choice," Verex replied. "The Nexari will destroy us all." After heated debate, the Concordat made its decision. Verex contacted Samantha. "Commander Wright, the Concordat will stand with humanity against the Nexari. What do you need from us?" On Earth, the team worked quickly. Nicole recovered and admitted her mistake in activating systems without permission. Together with Eric, they prepared the ancient defenses. "The spire is more than a weapon," Eric explained. "It's a shield generator. It can protect the entire solar system, but it needs time to charge." The final battle began near Jupiter. The combined Concordat and human forces engaged the Nexari fleet. Though outnumbered, the Allies fought bravely while the spire gathered power. Ryan developed battle tactics that used the strengths of each species. Paul and Nickel coordinated the ancient defense systems. When all seemed lost, with Concordat ships falling and the Nexari closing in on Earth, the Spire finally reached full power. A wave of blue energy expanded from Earth, washing over the solar system. When it touched the Nexari ships, they simply stopped, their systems completely disabled. "It's a shutdown field," Eric explained. "Your ancestors designed it specifically for Nexari technology." In the aftermath, Earth was recognized as a protected historical site. The humans, now viewed with cautious respect rather than fear, took their place in the galactic community. At the new Earth Embassy on the Concordat station, Samantha stood with representatives of dozens of species. They watched as the Earth came into view, its blue oceans and green continents shining in the darkness of space. "After 870,000 years," she said, "we finally found our place in the universe."